Step number 3, identifying your asset class. So once you know your budget, once you know your market in which you're going to be playing in, now you're looking at the asset class. What I mean by that is, what types of properties are you going to purchase? Is it going to be just single families? Is it going to be multifamilies up to 4 units? Is it going to be multifamilies more than 10 units? Is it going to be commercial properties? Within commercial properties is a whole nother ballgame. Is it office? Is it industrial? Is it retail? Is it flex? Is it mixed use? Is it this? Is it that? There's a million different asset classes you could put yourself into. But the number one thing for you to do is, what are you going to buy? And your budget's really going to determine that, right? Because as much as I would love to go out there and buy a $30 million office building, that's just not in my budget. That's something we really, really, really got to look into and make sure we determine this. That being said, we want to make sure that we know what asset we're going for. For me, I started off, okay, my sandbox is West Roxbury and Rosendale. I don't want to go over purchase price of $1 million, right? That's really what I was looking at. And I want to purchase anything from 1 to 4 units. That was my strategy when I first started. I said, West Roxbury, Rosendale, my sandbox, budget of no more than $1 million. And then now identifying what I'm actually going to purchase with that. So that landed me in the 1 to 4 unit range. That's what I did. I said, I want to purchase like no more than a 3-family, mostly single families, and kind of work from there. Why is that super important? It's really important to stay in your niche, especially in the beginning. Some of the best real estate companies out there, the real estate investment trusts, property management companies, anybody in real estate, they always say this one thing: the riches are in the niches. And that is the greatest phrase I've ever heard from some of the greatest entrepreneurs. When you focus on something and you do it extraordinarily well, it's critically important. It is critically important because it's going to validate the success of that. So for you, the riches are in the niches. Pick your exact asset that you want to focus on that's going to give you those results for many different reasons. For your budget, for your market, for your potential profit margins, and also for your marketing, all across the board. As I mentioned, I would go in and tell people, word of mouth, hey, I'm looking for this property. I'm looking for single families or 2 to 3 family homes that I'm looking to buy. So do you know anyone? And people would say, once they have that picture painted in their mind, they're like, wow, okay, well, single and yeah, I actually have a cousin who has a 2-family that's interested in selling it. Pam, would you want to go and take a look at it? So that was perfect. And so people knew me in my town, and they still do. Pam buys the single families and the 2 and 3 families in this market, and they just know my name, right? And then they see the signs everywhere. So it becomes a thing. It becomes your niche. People, when they look at your sign, they say, oh yeah, that's a single or a multifamily that, Pam's doing, or she's condo converting a multifamily or something like that. So really, once you hone down the budget, the market, now your asset class, it is the most critical part to stay in your niche, stay in your lane. I'm not saying you can't expand out in the future, right? Because I know people who have portfolios that have stemmed like crazy. They started doing single families, then they got into 2 and 3 families, then they got into commercial and did much bigger things. But in the very beginning, you have to be laser focused and then do that, own it, do it extremely well, and then be able to scale out slowly. Because one of the biggest lessons that I've seen, and I've seen people lose their shirt in real estate, where they started in this single family and then multifamily route, and all of a sudden they made a lot of money, which is great, as most people do, right? Then they went outside their comfort zone. They stuck outside their niche. And that's when they screwed up. And that's when they lost everything, because they got into a $10 million deal because they wanted to do this massive new development, and I've heard stories like this on and on and on and on. And it's so critically important that you stay in your lane, and also for risk reasons, right? Like these stories that I just told you about, these are real stories. Like people have lost millions of dollars stepping outside their niche and their comfort zone and saying, oh yeah, well, I've done it before, I'm going to do it here. You want to be super careful for risk reasons also, that you want to scale out slowly, and then go from there. Because all of a sudden, if you take this massive leap over here and you take a big loss, it's going to affect everything you've built to that date. So stick to your niches. The riches are in the niches. Remember that. It's super important. Stay in your lane, identify that asset class, and rock and roll from there.